letting go of self-criticism, returning to your true worth. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you just weren't good enough? Have you carried around the weight of other people's judgments only to realize that the harshest critic is actually yourself? We grow up in a world that constantly tells us we need to fix ourselves, be better, work harder, prove more, just to feel worthy. And somewhere along the way, we begin to believe that we're not enough as we are. But what if I told you, there's nothing you need to fix in order to be worthy? Welcome to Living Mindfully, a space where we share timeless Buddhist wisdom, mindful living practices, and healing reflections to help you come home to yourself and live with awareness, compassion, and peace. In today's video, we'll gently peel back the layers of self-doubt and inner judgment to rediscover a powerful truth that's been there all along. You are already enough, right here, right now. If you're tired of chasing approval, if you're longing to find peace within, if you're ready to pause, breathe, and truly listen to your heart, then this journey is for you. So take a deep breath and let's begin together with living mindfully. When confidence becomes an exhausting chase. From the time we're young, we're told that confidence is the key to success. Believe in yourself, they say. Stand tall, be proud. And so we try. We smile when we're hurting. We push through when we feel unsure. We hustle harder, reach higher, speak louder, hoping to feel that spark of self-assurance that everyone seems to be chasing. But somewhere along the way, confidence stops feeling like a strength, starts feeling like a mask. You start wondering, do I really believe in myself? Or am I just trying to convince everyone else that I do? And behind the polished image, behind the curated posts and practiced smiles, you begin to feel tired. Not just physically tired, but emotionally drained from constantly trying to measure up. In today's world, confidence has become something we feel we must earn. By looking a certain way, achieving more, gaining approval, staying ahead. But the more we chase it, the further it seems to slip away. You get a compliment and feel a boost, but one small criticism can knock you down. It's a fragile kind of confidence, one that depends entirely on outside voices. And when those voices go silent, you're left wondering, who am I when no one is watching? Am I still enough even without the applause? This is the cycle so many of us are trapped in. We confuse confidence with perfection, strength with constant productivity, self-worth with performance. We think, once I achieve this, then I'll feel good about myself. Once I get there, I'll finally be enough. But there's always a new standard, a new bar, a new way to fall short. Real confidence, true inner peace, doesn't come from running faster on that endless treadmill. It comes from stepping off. It comes from the quiet courage to say, I am worthy even when I'm unsure. I am enough even when I'm not perfect. I can rest. I can breathe. I can just be. And that is where healing begins. Buddhist wisdom. You don't need to become someone else. One of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism is also one of the simplest. You are already enough. You don't need to become someone different. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to chase after some perfect version of yourself in order to be whole. In fact, the more you try to become someone else, the further you drift from the peace that is already inside you. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes from craving, the endless wanting to be more, to have more, to feel more worthy. We believe that happiness lies somewhere in the future, just beyond the next goal, the next transformation, the next version of ourselves. But that belief keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Buddhist wisdom invites us to step out of that cycle, not by fixing ourselves, but by seeing clearly. To see that the sense of not enough is not your truth. It's a story you were taught. To realize that the voice in your head saying you should be different is not wisdom, it's conditioning. You were not born thinking you were broken. You were taught to believe that. And what has been learned can also be unlearned. In mindfulness practice, we don't try to become someone else. We return to ourselves. We sit in stillness. We breathe. We watch the rise and fall of our thoughts without judging them. We begin to notice that underneath all the noise and fear and self-criticism, there's a deeper presence, a quiet awareness that has always been with us. That's who you are. That's your true nature. You don't need to compete. You don't need to compare. You don't need to reach some ideal to be worthy of love or peace. You already are. And when you stop trying to become someone else, you create the space to finally meet yourself with compassion, with acceptance, with tenderness. That's not giving up. That's waking up, letting go of the voice of self-criticism. We all have that voice inside, the one that whispers, "You're not good enough. You should have done better. You always mess things up." At first, it might seem like that voice is helping us grow, keeping us in check, pushing us to improve. But over time, it becomes something far more damaging. It becomes the lens through which we see ourselves. And slowly, we begin to believe it. What we don't often realize is this. The voice of self-criticism is learned. It's a reflection of the judgments we've absorbed from the world around us: parents, teachers, peers, media, society. It wasn't born with us. It was planted, repeated, and internalized. In Buddhism, this harsh inner voice is seen as part of the ego mind, the part of us that clings to identity, that compares, that fears inadequacy. It's not your true self. It's just noise. And you don't have to keep listening. The practice of mindfulness gives us a way out, not by fighting that voice, but by noticing it with awareness and kindness. When the voice says, "You're not enough," you can pause, take a breath, and gently respond. "I see you. I hear you. But I don't have to believe you." With time, we begin to understand that we are not our thoughts. We are not the judgment. We are the awareness behind the judgment. Letting go of self-criticism doesn't mean pretending we're perfect. It means we stop attacking ourselves for being human. It means we choose compassion over punishment, curiosity over blame, softness over shame. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we don't become weaker, we become freer. We stop walking through life with a voice constantly dragging us down. We begin to rise, not because we're chasing approval, but because we're finally free to be whole as we are. And in the gentle space of acceptance, healing begins. Practicing mindfulness to nurture inner worth. In a world that constantly pulls us outward toward appearances, achievements, and approval, mindfulness brings us gently back home. Back to the breath, back to the body, back to the quiet truth that who we are is already enough. Mindfulness isn't just a technique. It's a way of remembering. It teaches us to slow down, to observe, to listen without judgment. And most importantly, it allows us to meet ourselves not as we wish to be, but as we are in this very moment. Through mindfulness, we learn to see clearly. The patterns that keep us stuck. The thoughts that tell us we're not worthy. The old stories we've carried for years without questioning. Each breath becomes a reminder. I am here. I am present. I don't have to earn my place in this world. We begin to shift from doing to being, from fixing to feeling, from judging to accepting. And slowly, something inside begins to soften. We stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What needs kindness right now?" In Buddhist practice, we return again and again to the present moment. Not because the moment is always pleasant, but because it's the only place where healing can begin. It's where we reconnect with our true nature. Calm, clear, open, and compassionate. When we sit in silence, even for a few minutes a day, we begin to feel our inner worth not as an idea, but as a felt experience. Not something we must earn, but something that's always been there, waiting patiently beneath the noise. This is the gift of mindfulness. It doesn't give you confidence by making you more. It gives you peace by reminding you that you were never less. True love begins with yourself. We often search for love in the world around us, through relationships, achievements, approval, or praise. But Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us, the deepest kind of love doesn't come from outside. It begins within. True love isn't about perfection. It's not about becoming flawless or earning worth through success. It's about meeting yourself with honesty, tenderness, and compassion. For many of us, the idea of self-love feels uncomfortable. We've been taught to prioritize others, to put ourselves last, to be hard on ourselves in the name of growth. But without love for ourselves, what kind of love can we truly offer to the world? As the Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. This kind of love is not ego. It's not arrogance. It's a quiet respect for your own humanity, a recognition that your wounds, your struggles, and your imperfections are not signs of failure. They are part of what makes you whole. When we practice metta, loving-kindness meditation, we begin by offering kind wishes to ourselves. Simple words repeated gently. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. First, it may feel strange. We're so used to criticizing ourselves that kindness can feel foreign. But with time and patience, these words start to soften the harsh inner dialogue. They begin to plant seeds of peace. The truth is, the love you show yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. When you treat yourself with care, you stop depending on others to fill a void. You stop chasing validation. You begin to give and receive love not from emptiness, but from wholeness. And that is powerful. Because when love starts within, it becomes unshakable. Not because life is perfect, but because your heart is open. Your mistakes do not define you. We all carry mistakes. Words we regret. Choices we wish we could undo. Moments that replay in our minds, whispering, "Why did I do that? What's wrong with me?" But Buddhist wisdom teaches something different. You are not your past. You are not your worst moment. And your worth is not erased by your mistakes. In Buddhism, mistakes are not seen as signs of failure, but as part of the human journey, part of the path to awakening. To make a mistake is to be human. To learn from it with compassion is to be wise. Let me share with you a well-known Buddhist story. The story of Angulimala. Angulimala was once a feared man. He had lived a life of violence, lost in delusion and anger. People called him a murderer, a criminal beyond redemption. One day, as he waited on a forest path, he saw the Buddha approaching. But something was different. The Buddha didn't run. He didn't condemn. He walked calmly, radiating compassion. When Angulimala confronted him, the Buddha said, "I have already stopped. It's you who must stop." Those simple words cut through years of confusion. In that moment, something shifted. Angulimala dropped his weapon, fell to the Buddha's feet, and asked to become a monk. In time, through deep practice and inner transformation, he became peaceful and was fully accepted into the Sangha. His past did not define his future. This story is not about excusing harm. It's about acknowledging our capacity for change no matter what we've done. It's a reminder that everyone has the potential to awaken, to heal, to begin again. When we cling to shame, we chain ourselves to who we used to be. But when we meet our mistakes with mindfulness and self-compassion, we open the door to growth. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing not to carry the burden forever. It means looking at ourselves and saying, "I did the best I could with what I knew then. And now, I choose to do better." You are not broken. You are not unworthy. You are becoming. And that journey is sacred. Comparison, the root of suffering. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to feel like you're falling behind? You see someone else succeed, and suddenly your own life feels small. You scroll through social media and think, "Why can't I be more like them? Why am I not where I should be by now?" Comparison is sneaky. It disguises itself as motivation, but underneath, it often leaves us feeling defeated, inadequate, and disconnected. In the modern world, we are constantly surrounded by curated versions of other people's lives. Smiling faces, perfect bodies, success stories, and behind it all, an invisible pressure. You're not enough unless you measure up. But here's what Buddhist wisdom teaches. Comparison is a trap created by the ego. It convinces us that we are separate from others, and that our worth must be proven by being better, faster, more accomplished. And yet, the truth is this: there is no finish line. There is no perfect version of you waiting on the other side of more likes, more money, or more recognition. The Buddha taught that clinging to identity and craving recognition only leads to suffering. When we compare, we feed that craving. We look outward for value instead of turning inward for peace. It's not that you're falling behind. It's that you're measuring your life with someone else's ruler. When we compare, we forget that each of us is walking a unique path. You don't need to look like anyone else, succeed like anyone else, or be anyone else. The flower doesn't compete with the tree. The ocean doesn't wish to be the sky. You were never meant to be a copy. You were meant to be real. True freedom begins when we stop comparing and start appreciating the truth of our own experience, however messy, however imperfect, however human. So breathe. Let go of the race. Come back to your own journey. Because peace isn't found in being better than others. It's found in being fully yourself. The inner voice, are you truly yourself, or just who others told you to be? Pause for a moment and listen to the voice in your head. What does it sound like? Is it kind? Is it encouraging? Or is it filled with doubt, judgment, and criticism? Here's something we rarely talk about. Much of that inner voice isn't actually ours. From the time we're young, we're surrounded by expectations. Parents, teachers, media, culture, they all tell us who we should be. Be polite. Be strong. Be successful. Be quiet. Don't be too loud. Don't be too sensitive. Don't be different. Over time, those outside voices become internalized. They blend into our thoughts, into our identity, until we start to believe, this is just who I am. But what if it's not? What if the voice that tells you you're not good enough isn't actually your own? What if it's an echo from someone else's fear, someone else's pain? Buddhism invites us to look deeper, not just at what we think, but at why we think it. Through mindfulness, we begin to notice our patterns, the stories we've inherited, and the labels we've accepted without question. And with that awareness comes power. You don't have to keep replaying the same old script. You can choose to rewrite the narrative. You can ask, is this belief serving me? Is this voice helping me grow or keeping me small? The truth is, you are not here to meet everyone's expectations. You are here to wake up to your true nature, your unique essence, your inner wisdom. And that can only happen when you start listening not to the noise of the world, but to the quiet truth within you. Let yourself be more than a reflection of others. Let yourself become who you truly are, beneath all the layers of should and shouldn't. Because your authentic self is not something you have to create. It's something you uncover. And that journey begins by gently questioning the voice inside, awakening to the present, escaping the loop of self-doubt. How often do you find yourself replaying the past or worrying about the future, regretting what you said, doubting your choices, wondering if you're doing enough, being enough, becoming enough? This endless loop of self-doubt keeps us trapped. We second-guess ourselves, compare our lives to others, and lose touch with what's real this moment. But mindfulness offers us a way out. Buddhist teachings remind us peace can only be found in the here and now, not in the perfect version of ourselves we hope to become, not in a distant future when everything finally makes sense, but right here in this breath, this feeling, this experience. When we're caught in self-doubt, we become disconnected from the truth of who we are. We mistake our thoughts for reality. We believe the inner critic without question. But the present moment holds something deeper, clarity. When we return to the now, we begin to see our thoughts as passing clouds, not permanent truths. We realize that we are not our doubts. We are the awareness that notices them. That shift changes everything. Even in moments of uncertainty, you can ground yourself in presence. Even in fear, you can breathe. Even in insecurity, you can remember, I am here. I am enough. Living mindfully doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt again. It means you won't let doubt define you. Each time you come back to the present, you reclaim your power. You reconnect with the steady, silent wisdom inside you, the part untouched by fear, comparison, or judgment. So take a deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice what's happening around you. This moment is your anchor. This moment is your home. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to show up fully, honestly, as you are. The journey to wholeness begins now. We often think of healing, self-worth, and confidence as destinations, something we'll arrive at once we've done enough inner work, achieved enough, or finally become better. But what if wholeness isn't a destination? What if it's a return? A gentle coming home to who you've always been. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that we are not broken. We are not missing pieces we need to find. We have simply forgotten our true nature, a nature that is whole, peaceful, and awake. The path isn't about fixing yourself. It's about remembering yourself. Every breath you take mindfully is a step back to your center. Every moment you meet with compassion is a moment of healing. And every time you choose presence over perfection, you're coming back to your wholeness. You don't need to be fearless to be whole. You don't need to be flawless. You simply need to be willing to be with yourself as you are without judgment. True transformation doesn't happen through force. It happens through kindness, through quiet acceptance, through the simple but powerful decision to stop running from yourself. Even if you feel lost, uncertain, or overwhelmed right now, that's okay. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where your journey begins. Right here. Right now. With this breath. So pause. Feel your aliveness. Let go of the need to chase, to prove, to perfect. And instead, listen. Your inner wisdom is still here. Your worth has never left you. And your wholeness is waiting for you to notice it. The journey doesn't start when you become someone else. It starts the moment you choose to be fully present with who you already are. Closing, coming home to yourself. Dear friend, maybe you've spent years trying to be enough in the eyes of others, But today, in this quiet moment, you can begin to see clearly. You have never been missing anything. You are enough. Right from the moment you came into this world, we don't need to run a race to become some perfect version defined by outside standards. We just need to pause, listen, and come back inside where a peaceful truth has always been waiting for us. If what I've shared in this video touched your heart, if you feel comforted, understood, or simply want to keep walking the path of mindfulness and self-love, then please hit subscribe to Living Mindfully. Because every week, we'll explore together more precious wisdom from Buddhist teachings, mindfulness practices, and ways to nurture a deeper, lighter, and more fulfilling life. By subscribing, you're not only getting helpful content, you're creating a space to nourish your own soul. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening with all your heart. See you in the next video. Wishing you peace and awakening on your journey back to yourself.